And to continue the conversation about the gold medal game, here's Bryan Hayes from Overdrive on TSN Radio. Bryan, so that was John Cooper on 3-on-3 in overtime, deciding these games. This is a very contentious subject. It's quite something. And Craig earlier in the show had his say about it. What do you think about the idea of 3-on-3 continuing to decide games like this at the Olympics, Bryan?
I don't love it, but I understand it. I understand that the Olympics are a completely different experience. And honestly, I don't love that answer from John Cooper. I believe it's a genuine one, but he knows better than that. They're not playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is not an NHL-sanctioned event. This is the Olympics. There's a lot of things that are different in the Olympics. The rink size is different. You're allowed to dress 13 forwards and 7 defense. What's next? Do we want to play best 4 out of 7? That's what they do in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's not the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's the Olympics. It's every 4 years. It's different. It's unique. If a Canadian happened to win the game in overtime, no one in the country would have been complaining. I'm pretty sure John Cooper wouldn't be either. When Mitch Marner scored in the quarters against Czechia, 3-on-3, no one was complaining. Sidney Crosby sitting up there right beside John Cooper. When he scored the golden goal, there were 4 guys on the ice for each team. Is that hockey? I mean, I'm not saying I love it. I prefer 5-on-5, but I understand it. And the guys that knew it was coming were the NHL players, the NHL, the NHLPA, and all the coaches, including John Cooper. They signed up for it. This is the way it works in the IOC. This is the way it works in the Olympic Games. And you had McDavid, McKinnon, Makar on the ice. In my opinion, the 3 best players in the world. They were on the ice in Canadian jerseys. They had possession multiple times on multiple shifts. They didn't get the job done. It sucks. It's heartbreaking. They didn't get the job done. The Americans did. We all know it's coming. It's 3-on-3. It's likely going to be there in 4 years, and in 8 years, and in 12 years. It's not the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's not an NHL-sanctioned event. If they want to launch the World Cup every 4 years and start in 2 years, do it then. Make it feel like the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I'm okay with understanding that it's going to be different every 4 years because that's the way the Olympic Games work.
Bryan, in the last, 600 days, I'm going to say, roughly, this is Matthew Tkachuk's resume. 2 Stanley Cups and Olympic gold medal. What does that say to you?
That says he is now the face of winning in pro hockey and the voice of winning in pro hockey, which is pretty incredible because of, the resume you just laid out. 2 Cup finals, 2 Stanley Cup wins, and now a gold medal. And he did it against Connor McDavid all 3 times. I know it was the Oilers twice and Team Canada this time, but McDavid is the poster boy of Canadian hockey. There are some that would argue he's the greatest player of all time. He's certainly rapidly moving up the list of everyone that would make a hockey list that's where McDavid is. And Matthew Tkachuk has stood in his way every single time. And to use a wrestling analogy, this is Ric Flair who just won the world title. That's what's happened here. This is Ric Flair because he's going to be loud. He's going to be obnoxious. There may not be a ton of class. He's going to let everybody know Matthew Tkachuk represents winning when it comes to pro hockey right now. It's been Sidney Crosby, the face of that, for the last 16, 17 years. And it's not that Sid isn't still a winner. Of course he is. But as of today, and it may change this spring because I'm not convinced Florida's even going to make the playoffs. And it certainly might change in 4 years because I'm not convinced the Americans are going to win gold in 4 years. But today, end of February 2026, you close your eyes, or if you just perk up and listen, you're going to hear Matthew Tkachuk. And he's going to tell you that he wins and everybody else loses. The face of winning in pro hockey today is Matthew Tkachuk.
It's never too early to look ahead to 2030, in my opinion. I love talking about potential rosters. Maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but overall, you think of Sid. Everyone's thinking about Sid, right? Could he possibly be there in 4 years? But overall, this roster, do you expect in 2030, Bryan, that it will look significantly different than this 2026 roster or just a little bit different?
I think you have to brace for significantly different because even where the star players are in their career is going to look and feel different, right? Like, obviously, Sid was here, and it's so unfortunate he got injured. It's so tough to watch him come out in his uniform for the medal round and the fact that he couldn't play. It's such a bummer, and he would have had a huge impact on the semis and on the final, undoubtedly. but this was McDavid, McKinnon, McCarr's Olympic Games, right? Like Gretzky playing in 98. That was Lindros's Olympic Games among some other guys that were in their primes. McDavid will be 33. McKinnon will be 34. You know, it may be Macklin Celebrini's team in 4 years. It may not be the Connor McDavid show or the Nathan McKinnon show. So that in and of itself will change. Inevitably, there will be turnover. But I'm looking actually at Sid and wondering the role he might play in 4 years, because he'll be 42 years old, right? I'd like to believe he can get there and play. I'm not sure he can. 42 years old on this roster with all the competition, I think it's asking a lot. And let's be realistic here, Jay. He may not be playing, period, in 4 years.
Yep.
He's 38. He may retire. And I am going to jump out in front of this. Like you said, it's never too early to talk about 2030. I think the management has to change. It's not that Doug Armstrong did a poor job. I think he did a really good job. Canada deserved to win the gold medal. I thought he put together a very good team. Very good team. But in 98, the face of that team, the GM, was Bobby Clark. In 02 and 06, it was Gretzky. In 2010 and 14, it was Yzerman. I think the way to go is to have a former great player be the GM and be the spokesman for the team. In 98, Gretzky played. By 02, he was the GM. I'm calling it right here, right now, if he's up for it. If Sidney Crosby retires in the next 2 or 3 years, that should be your GM in 2030. Let him take on that role. Let him run the operation if he's up for it. If he's not by 2030, by 2034, because I think that's what he's made of. He's the face of Canadian hockey. He's a winner. He's done it all. Clark did it in 98. Gretzky, Yzerman. I want to see a former great player leading the charge for Team Canada and the contingency. I think it could be Sidney Crosby if he's retired between now and then, and I'd love to see it, man. So Sid, I think, will be involved in 2030. It just may not be on the ice. It may be as an executive.
Well, hopefully, Brian, if Sid is the GM and the team is there, the arena is done. So all those contractors in the French Alps, maybe start the arena now. You got 4 years. Maybe don't wait for like 2 months before the Olympics. Let's start it now, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get it done by 2030.